So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute, man. And we back with some more conspiracy theories, this time surrounding the creation of humans. Alright, so we're gonna get into this video. If you new, you know what to do, man. Hit that subscribe button, join the family, and hit that like button for more content, man. Let's get it going. Here we go.
When one looks into history and to the monumentous events that have shaped our world, it is commonplace to appreciate and accept the great writers, scholars, and archaeologists' interpretations of such events to be factual. Crucial moments such as the First and Second World Wars, as well as specific incidents and/or people who have changed the course of history, are often portrayed in similar ways, depending on the scenario or teaching. The premise, to an extent, poses no issue when studying the past, attempting to learn from it as we progress and evolve towards the future, here in this little world of ours. However, with the rise of the internet, social media, and more recently, attempts to rewrite historical events in the name of a specific cause or argument, such information can be unlearned, misconstrued, or indeed forgotten. With an endless flow of facts, stories, and knowledge at our fingertips, we must tread carefully when we attempt to understand where we came from and where we are going as a species. In this video, we'll be investigating the ongoing theory that human beings did not appear and evolve here on Earth, but were actually created as a breed of creatures by a migrated alien race thousands of years ago. Could it be that an extraterrestrial civilization was the cause of our creation? If so, where did we come from? And how does this change our outlook and understanding of history?
I'll tell you how it would change our outlook, man. That changes everything. That just makes us think, okay, now we're descendants of aliens? We don't even belong here, is what you're saying? These theories are going to point to us saying that they're responsible for everything that we're either doing, where we came from, we're involved in, where we credit all of that to aliens. That's an interesting theory to throw out there. Never really heard anybody have that take on it. So this should be interesting.
Let's delve in to the mystifying possibility that we are in fact the aliens. As always, hit those likes,
We're the aliens.
Sit back and enjoy.
Wow.
As ever, it's worth taking a step back from such a massive claim to try and ascertain where in fact it stemmed from,
Right.
and what initial traction it garnered,
Right.
before exploding onto our television screens and scientific journals. The concept of an alien race visiting our planet before humans were created is a bold and ambitious tale. However, scientific communicator and astrophysicist Carl Sagan decided to speculate on the subject alongside his esteemed colleague Losif Shklovsky. In 1966, both men co-authored the book Intelligent Life in the Universe, stating, "A description of the morphology of an intelligent non-human, a clear account of astronomical realities, which a primitive people could not acquire by their own efforts, or a transparent presentation of the purpose of the contact would increase the credibility of the legend." Sagan, who attended the University of Chicago, earned a bachelor's and master's degree in physics in 1955 and in 1956 respectively, as well as a doctorate in astronomy and astrophysics in 1960. From 1960 to 1962, he was a fellow in astronomy at the University of California, Berkeley, and from 1962 to 1968, he worked at Harvard University and the Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory.
Okay, so they just basically laid out that he has the credentials before they say he makes such a bold statement. You know what I mean? I just peeped what they just did there. But we don't care nothing about his credentials. Yeah, it means something in the grand scheme of things of us listening to a person like this, but we still want to hear the end result of what comes out of that person's mouth. And what do they say that makes them believe this theory that he's about to throw out, possibly?
University and the Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory, becoming a controversial figure amongst the scientific and religious communities for his comments and theoretical lectures. One of the stories that Sagan discussed and proposed was in relation to the legend of Oans, the mythical creature that originated from Sumer, the earliest recognized civilization in history. Sumer is classed as a significant historical region of southern Mesopotamia, where it's understood that the Sumerian civilization first rose and flourished around 4000 BCE, approximately 6,000 years ago. Oans was an apparent half-man, half-fish entity that ascended from the remote regions of the Persian Gulf, which bordered Babylonia, and is described as having the body of an extraordinarily large fish, with both fish and human heads and feet. From his ascendancy, Oans lavished the earliest known Sumerians with art, lettering, knowledge of construction, and the intelligence to create laws amongst its population. Sagan writes, stories like the Oans legend, and representations especially of the earliest civilizations on the Earth, deserve much more critical studies than have been performed heretofore. With the possibility of direct contact with an extraterrestrial civilization as one of the many possible alternative interpretations. These include similar alien-like entities who regularly surveyed the progress, health, and well-being of the Sumerians in those early years. This collective group of creatures...
I think I see where they're trying to lead us to. Saying that we obtain knowledge. How else did we obtain this knowledge of information that we learned to do different things? Saying it didn't just randomly pop in our head, or somebody wasn't just randomly figuring this stuff out there, saying we got it from a smarter, you know what I mean, alien species or something like that. I've heard this theory actually before. I get where they're trying to take us.
Were known as the Apkallu. They are described as being gigantic beings with horns, wings, and have a variety of superpowers that controlled all aspects of the land, sea, and humanity as a whole. Another leading name in the ancient alien hypothesis is that of Zecharia Sitchin. Born to a Jewish family in Baku, the capital of then Soviet Azerbaijan, Sitchin grew up in mandatory Palestine, now known as the State of Israel, before obtaining a degree in economics from the University of London. After moving to New York City in 1952 and working as an executive for a shipping company, the soon-to-be author managed to teach himself Sumerian cuneiform, which is a logo-syllabic script, which was used to write several languages of the ancient Middle East. His interest in archaeology and ancient mysteries continued, where he visited and studied historical sites and landmarks before turning his attention solely to the alien ancestry theory, as well as Earth's origins. Sitchin's understanding of our genealogy and background have been developed, accumulated, and published in 7 books, named the Earth Chronicles. His signature premise and notoriety stems from his thoughts and interpretations of the ancient Sumerian culture, known as the Anunnaki, a godlike breed of alien beings who originated from the mystical planet of Nibiru, which has been nicknamed the non-existent planet, or Planet X. Sitchin's books have sold millions of copies worldwide and have been translated into more than 25 languages. It is said, through a generalized interpretation and translation of Mesopotamian religious texts, that the planet of Nibiru passes by Earth every 3,600 years, where the Anunnaki visit our shores to study and investigate our progress as a species. In one of his published volumes, titled The End of Days, Sitchin calculated the last known passing of Nibiru was taking place in 556 BC. If this is the case, the rogue planet is expected to arrive again around the year 2900. However, it was his debut volume, named The 12th Planet, where the author dived into the concept vigorously, claiming the 12th planet, beyond Neptune, is host to the Anunnaki, a claim that brought him massive success, ridicule, and a cult-like following. Perhaps the reason for developing such a large, dedicated audience is that his summarized explanations go against the grain of spirituality, religion, and generalized scientific theory. By questioning the status quo in relation to archaeological interpretation and that of history and literature, Sitchin's approach...
Yeah, therein lies all the controversy always, in between religion and people having other beliefs of how we got here, where our species came from, where we got the knowledge, all that information there. There's always a divide right there between that and religion.
Has certainly got people talking and pursuing an alternative understanding of evolution and indeed the cosmos. For those who either believe, question or discuss mythological narratives and folklore, the Anunnaki is rapidly becoming a focal point of study, alongside Greek and Nordic legend. As before the Greeks began praising Zeus or the Egyptians worshipped Osiris, the god of the deceased, the Sumerians are said to have honored the gods of the Anunnaki. Sitchin believes that these impressive entities not only brought the blueprint of humankind to Earth, but other technological feats such as the invention of the plough, and also assisted the Sumerian people with the concept of time and timekeeping.
See? Yeah, exactly. Told you. I knew that's where they were leading us, bro. I thought I heard this theory before, saying where we got all of our different things from technology that they used back then to how to interpret time, different things. Like, I figured that's where they were taking us with that.
And also assisted the Sumerian people with the concept of time and timekeeping. The story goes that the Anunnaki came to Earth approximately 450,000 years ago in search of gold and other minerals, which could have been used to restore the atmosphere on their own planet of Nibiru. The mining of such commodities beginning in the region of Africa, unable to continuously dig for such material in a constructive manner, the Anunnaki designed a lower race of engineered slaves that could work longer and as a collective force. Thus it's believed that human beings, or Homo sapiens, were genetically created for this purpose. Though it may not seem to be the case in today's modern world of politics, social class and human beings' ignorant assumption that we are top of the so-called food chain and control our planet's destiny, the story concludes that we are merely servants of these extraterrestrial beings from Nibiru. In terms of physical evidence to support the theory posed by the likes of Sitchin and others, we can attempt to decipher this through the star maps of the Sumerian civilizations, which have miraculously been excavated and preserved. These ancient tablets display inscriptions and descriptions of the stars and planets by astronomers who were educated or instructed by their masters to observe and calculate the patterns of the cosmos. It goes without saying that the technology, hardware, or knowledge of the outer limits of space and star constellations were non-existent at the time. So how could they identify such a vast area out with their own vicinity?
Good question.
Sitchin states the following. Sumerians lacked telescopes and couldn't see Uranus and Neptune's orbits that the route maps from Nibiru to Earth show. Nibirian dicted maps accurately detail the entire Earth from space, a perspective impossible for ancient Sumerians on their own. One of these fascinating star maps is located within the Royal Library of Ashurbanipal, named after Ashurbanipal, the last great king of the Assyrian Empire. The building, which showcases an extraordinary array of more than 30,000 clay tablets and fragments dating back to the 7th century BC,
wow,
displays a 350 to 50 BCE Babylonian cuneiform tablet translated in 2015 that accurately details the location of Jupiter. What is so intriguing about this piece is that it not only pinpoints the position of the gas giant planet.
I know, it makes you think, huh? With them saying that they have no knowledge of them having any telescopes, but here you have a tablet accurately discussing the location of a planet. How is that possible? Have what we've been told lies? Why? Why would that be then? Question that. Why would we be fed a bunch of lies and different things like that? I always go back to control, man.
So intriguing about this piece is that it not only pinpoints the position of the gas giant planet, but it's unbelievably accurate in its calculative description regarding its orbit, thereby baffling scientists and astronomers alike. The library also contains the celebrated and fantastically preserved poem, the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is considered to be one of the oldest written texts in all of human history.
Now, I know what some of y'all are going to say. Looking at this, how can man could have messed this up? We could have messed this up. We could have a totally wrong interpretation. We could have read this wrong. Our interpretation of this could be completely wrong. I get that. That is also a possibility. Human error is a thing. So you're going to wait until one of these robots come out and analyze and read one of these tablets and say it to you, and it's going to click then and confirm it then you're going to have to decide whether or not you trust the robot. But I get what a lot of people are going to push back and say.
Considered to be one of the oldest written texts in all of human history. Much like Milton's Paradise Lost and Virgil's Aeneid, the Epic of Gilgamesh recounts the tale of the hero king of ancient Mesopotamia as he travels across the land, dealing with an array of emotions as well as encountering gods, dangerous beings, and ultimately death. The study of these works is ongoing and becoming increasingly worthwhile with each interpretation and examination. Despite developing a massive following of fans, readers, and students, Sitchin also attracted many critics and skeptics of his works and theories.
I bet he did.
Most of which were rejected by leading scientists and historians. Many doubted his analysis, and fault finders have publicly lambasted his methods as being mistranslated or ignorant of existing historical academia.
What did I say? What did they just say? Oh, his readings and different things are mistranslated. He messed up. I told you that's the way they come at you, man. We know how they gonna come at you, bro. We know. Whether you're right or wrong, that's not for us. We just have to listen, absorb, and make our own assumption and just our theories and what we like to believe. But every time somebody veers left and has a different look and view or interpretation on the history that's been fed to us in books and different things like that, he's outcast. He's outcast.
From an astronomical standpoint, senior scientist of NASA, David Morris, states that Nibiru is not real and there is no 10th planet. Dr. Michael S. Hessier,
how can you know?
Who passed away early 2023 and who held a PhD in the Hebrew Bible and Semitic languages, was also a skeptic. He was an American biblical Old Testament scholar and Christian author with extensive training in ancient history, and argues that there is no mention of a connection between the Anunnaki and that of the mysterious Nibiru planet in the majority of ancient texts. Another more recent name to hit the spotlight regarding matters of ancient aliens and our place in the cosmos is that of Graham Hancock. Born on the 2nd of August 1950 in Edinburgh, the writer has worked his way up the ladder of pseudo-scientific theories involving ancient civilizations and lost lands. A speculation that has gained him fame and criticism in equal measure is the possibility that an advanced Ice Age civilization was destroyed in a major disaster, and that those who survived the catastrophe passed on their knowledge to hunter-gatherers, giving rise to the earliest known civilizations of ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Mesoamerica. Having studied sociology at Durham University, Hancock took time to work as a journalist for multiple newspapers in the United Kingdom before writing the books that propelled him and his theory into the public sphere. Appearing on major network television and radio shows, Hancock is adamant that historical records of past events and of ancient civilizations are either incorrect or flawed in their narrative. Though he states, "I'm not an academic, I am not an archaeologist, I am a writer, communicating ideas to the public."
Disclaimer.
The former journalist is taking his theoretical hypotheses on the road, discussing such probabilities with students, scholars, and historians across the educational board. In 2015, his book, Magician of the Gods, discusses the notion of a future flood or comet strike that seemingly occurred 12,000 years ago, the last remaining evidence of which pointed towards a similar cataclysm occurring again, which makes one question, or link this to, the ancient alien proposal. Hancock writes, "The other thing that almost always goes with these myths is the notion of an antediluvian civilization, something which existed before the flood and was destroyed by it. I couldn't see any good reason why these universal myths shouldn't be a memory of that event, yet I found that this idea hadn't been explored. Similar to Sitchin, Hancock has had his fair share of criticism and questioning with regards to his works and beliefs.
I was about to say, doesn't the things we find at the bottom of the ocean kind of point back to the ancient civilizations and the flood? All of the stuff that we've looked at and found and discovered that we've seen on this channel alone, bro, we've seen tons and tons of discoveries that point to a flood, whether it came from a volcano or ancient civilization that was once around. How else do you explain that stuff? So see, you can kind of argue against any point, even his.
Beliefs. However, not too long ago, a piece of evidence has popped up to support his theory. India's National Institute of Ocean Technology announced that it had discovered ruins of an ancient city 25 miles off the coast of Gujarat. As the search goes on to find these ancient lost cities, Hancock has been passed the baton to lead the argument that perhaps we have never, in fact, been alone, stating, "Now that we have a clear probability of large cities at the bottom of the Gulf of Cambay and other structures in southeast India that are 9,000 to 10,000 years old, the logic goes away." Pretty incredible. And so, this is where this episode will end. As we continue to make amazing progress in technology, archaeological treasures, such as ancient ruins and/or tablets, are most likely to be located and studied better than ever before. In a world where history is constantly being rewritten, misunderstood and disbelieved,
Exactly.
the possibility that our ancient ancestors arrived from another planet and purposefully created us for their own use is not beyond the realms of possibility. With each new tablet, script or treasure that is found, alongside the work that NASA and others are doing, maybe we may discover more about ourselves than we do about extraterrestrials and the cosmos. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this in the comments.
Pretty interesting. What do y'all think? Does that sway your opinion of earlier of your belief of the creation of humans? What does the text read? What is history told you? Like you said, history is always being rewritten. But this type of stuff was never discussed coming up in school. I can only speak for me. We were just given one way to look at things, not multiple. And that's why I said, man, it's almost like it's ingrained even in the school system to try to control you to think one way. When we all know you need to be able to look at things in order to figure them out, you need to look at them from different angles, different possibilities. So that's why I enjoy looking at it from, okay, let's look at it from a religious point. Okay, now let's look at it from this point of saying, okay, the Anunnaki, is that a possibility? Then what can support these claims? Well, you have this scholar talking about this, this, and this, and he's pointing to these things. And then you got this religious scholar who's saying this, and according to the text, this. You got to be able to look at things and decipher for yourself from different angles, man. Don't just take one. That's all I'm saying. Listen, y'all get at me in the comment section, man, and let me know what you thought of this video, and stick around and stay tuned, man. Till next one, I'm gone. Peace.